So we know that Deontay Wilder has accused Anthony Joshua of quitting in the Andy Ruiz fight. We know that Deontay Wilder is currently in the UK. We know that he had a conversation with Dylan White's brother, for example, when he was in Brixton. He's been going around different gyms and stuff like that in the UK. He has wished Anthony Joshua all the best. He has also come out and apparently said that Anthony Joshua is being forced into the rematch and he doesn't really want to take the rematch. And, you know, he's making all kinds of claims, Deontay Wilder, many of which are unsubstantiated claims. Okay? Now, where I agree with Deontay Wilder is that, as you guys all know, I don't think Anthony Joshua should take an immediate rematch. Yeah? Is Anthony Joshua being forced into it? I don't know. I suspect there's a lot of pressure on Anthony Joshua to take it, but that's different than him being forced into taking it. But that's where, you know, I will agree with Deontay Wilder in that I think it's probably best for Anthony Joshua to take an interim fight. Now, as far as Anthony Joshua quitting, when the fight initially happened, AJ Ruiz, and I looked at Anthony Joshua's reaction a couple of times and, you know, watched the fight a few times, I was leaning towards the opinion that he actually did quit. That's what I was leaning towards. However, having watched this video right here, okay, it's on Anthony Joshua's YouTube channel. It's called Take It In and Apply It. He explains what happened in the Andy Ruiz fight, how he was feeling, and what occurred at the end of the fight. And having heard him explain it, I actually think he probably didn't quit. So I am going to change my mind on it. I was kind of leaning towards he did quit. Now hearing what he said, and he has video footage of the fight playing at the time, I actually think he didn't quit. I think he didn't. Did he enthusiastically protest at the fight being stopped? No. But that's probably because he knew he was going to lose anyway at that point. He knew it was over. So he was probably, some part of him was probably, I don't want to say relieved that the fight was over, but maybe relieved. You know, some people are going to say that's too strong, but maybe a part of him was relieved that it was over. But did he quit? Looking at the footage here and the way Anthony Joshua explains it and looking at what the referee did, because Anthony Joshua explained that the referee was giving him certain instructions and Anthony Joshua was obeying the instructions. So when Anthony Joshua tried to move forward, he says that the referee stopped him and said, stay there. So Anthony Joshua just leaned back on the ropes. And the referee then said, do you want to continue? And AJ nodded yeah. And the referee waved it off. So AJ saying that there was some confusion in terms of what the referee wanted him to do. And personally, I mean, none of us know what was in Anthony Joshua's head, but personally, I think the story that he's coming out with actually checks out and that he didn't quit. You know, again, I know a lot of the PBC guys, I mean, they're all acting as though they would never quit. Look, plenty of great fighters over the years have quit. Roberto Duran quit. Okay, lots of great fighters have quit. It happens. And of course, Deontay Wilder has never been on the floor 4 times in a fight. So let's see how Deontay Wilder reacts when he's in Anthony Joshua's position. Let's see how Errol Spence reacts if he's in Anthony Joshua's position, etc. It's easy to start saying, I wouldn't quit and I wouldn't do this, that, and the other. If you haven't been in that situation, you don't know what you would do. Truth be told. Yeah? But I've got no problem with saying that a fighter quit. Because I'm not taking the stance, you know, in most instances, I'm not taking the position that, oh, he's a coward, he quit and this, that, and the other. No, that's not the position I'm taking. I'm just describing what he did. Just describing the action. Like Dave Allen against David Price. Dave Allen quit. I'm not saying he's a coward because of it. I'm not saying that if I was in the ring against David Price taking that kind of a beating, that I would have continued. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just describing what happened, and what happened is that Dave Allen quit. Okay, Kell Brook, same thing against Errol Spence. Kell Brook quit. I don't know why you had all these Brook fans and British boxing fans and people in the British boxing media afraid to say the truth. Kell Brook quit in that fight. He quit. I don't know why. I don't know what is in the water making people think that that is not an accurate description. It is. He quit. I'm not saying Kell Brook's a coward. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have quit in that situation. Most human beings who are not professional boxers would quit in that situation. Okay. In fact, many professional boxers would quit in that situation. So I'm not, taking that kind of stance. Obviously, there are some fights where a fighter quits without even taking any serious punishment. For example, like, what's the guy's name? Tom Schwartz, when he fought Senad Gashi. He tried to quit by playing dead in the second round when he hadn't even taken any punishment in that fight. Stuff like that is when I'm going to sit up as somebody who's fought myself, right? As an amateur, I fought. I wouldn't even dream of trying to do that. If someone beat me, well, they beat me. They actually hit me with some real punches. I ain't going to try, win an Oscar by pretending to be knocked out so I can get somebody disqualified. That's when I have to step in and say, nah, man, that's some BS you're trying to pull there. That's some questionable behavior. But yeah, that's what I'll say about this whole Anthony Joshua quit thing. He says he doesn't think Joshua's a quitter, but he quit with Ruiz. I guess what he means by that is Anthony Joshua has obviously worked hard to get into the position he's in life. And he expects Anthony Joshua to come back and rebound. But in that particular fight against Andy Ruiz, he says he quit. I think Deontay Wilder is wrong based upon what I've seen. Previously, I agreed with him, but at this point, I think he's probably wrong. He wants to believe that Anthony Joshua quit. He wants to believe this, that he wants to have this thing in his head that he has something over his rivals. Joshua's a quitter, Fury's this one's he likes to have this in his head over his rivals all the time, And for me, it always comes back to this with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was a spectator and was working as a commentator when Anthony Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko. Why wasn't Deontay Wilder in the ring fighting Klitschko? He'd had years of opportunities to fight Klitschko and he never took them. His manager, Shelley Finkel, came out and openly showed that he was keeping Deontay Wilder away from Vladimir Klitschko, protecting him from Klitschko. Deontay Wilder was champion long before Anthony Joshua was. But yet he didn't fight Klitschko. Anthony Joshua comes along, he gets in the ring, fights Klitschko. Not Wilder. Wilder's there watching, in the crowd, spectating, commentating at ringside, when he could have been in the ring fighting Klitschko instead. Maybe not at that venue, but somewhere else. So it is a bit rich, the stuff that Deontay Wilder and his fans come out with regards to AJ. When AJ's been willing to do things that Deontay Wilder has been reluctant to do, completely refused to do. So let's be fair and let's be real about it. There are plenty of things you can criticize Eddie Hearn for. There are plenty of things you can criticize about AJ and his vulnerabilities as a fighter. 100%. But, let's be fair. There are plenty of things you can criticize about Wilder too, and the way his career has gone. When you want to talk about a padded record, look at Deontay Wilder's record before he fought Luis Ortiz. That's what you call padded. More padded than a flipping sumo wrestler, right? Very padded. And that was over 30 fights. Nearly 40 fights before he fought Ortiz, and it was a very padded record. Talking about padded records and who's protected and who's a hype job and who's a manufactured fighter. Well, Deontay Wilder's record was very much manufactured prior to fighting Luis Ortiz. He had fought a couple of solid guys like Spilker at the time was, fringe contender. He was halfway decent. He'd already been stopped by Jennings, mind. Who else was there? Washington. I mean, these are fringe contenders. They're not top guys. Duopa, another fringe contender. I'm not saying they're terrible fighters, but, there's nobody there that's anything special. There's nobody there who's a top heavyweight. And those are the guys Wilder was fighting for years while he was champion, when he could have been fighting Klitschko. When he could have fought Dylan White. When he could have fought AJ. But he was fighting them kind of guys. So let's be real about Deontay Wilder. Let's not, he's a very good fighter. He's very dangerous. Okay, I'm going to give Wilder always the credit that he deserves. But I'm also going to give him the criticism that he deserves. That's just what it is. So, anyway, Let me know what you guys feel in the comments below. And just to finish off, Deontay Wilder now says that he's still interested in fighting Anthony Joshua. You know, isn't that funny that Wilder turned down several opportunities to fight Anthony Joshua? The last time that he turned down an AJ fight, it was as part of a $100 million deal or $120 million deal. He turned AJ down on multiple occasions. But now that AJ has been knocked out and lots of his vulnerabilities have been exposed, now Wilder's like more keen to fight him. Isn't that funny? Perceptions change all the time at the end of the day. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of guys who are more keen to fight Anthony Joshua now that he's lost. It was the same when Mike Tyson lost back in the days. And I'm not saying Anthony Joshua is going to go down as being, you know, on the level of a Mike Tyson. Not at all. We have to wait and see how good Anthony Joshua turns out to be. Maybe he turns out to be a flash in the pan. Or maybe he turns out to be an all-time great. I've got no idea. The point I'm making is, when Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, wow, it gave so many fighters a lot of heart. So many fighters felt like, okay, now I can beat Mike Tyson. And all kind of fighters coming out the woodwork saying, yeah, now I want that smoke. Whereas before, people were scared of Mike. After the Douglas fight, everybody's got heart to fight him. You know? I mean, even when he lost to Holyfield 2 times in 96, he lost the first fight to Holyfield. The second fight, was it also in 96 or was it in 97? I can't remember now. No, it must have been in 97 because the first fight was in November 96. So the second fight was in 97. After those fights, again, people had a lot more confidence in fighting Mike Tyson after they saw Holyfield whoop him twice. So perceptions change all the time. I mean, Lennox Lewis, right? When he got knocked out by Oliver McCall, how many people at that point would have picked him to beat Holyfield? How many people at that point would have picked him to go on to be the best heavyweight of the 1990s? Not many. Perceptions always change. And it would appear as though Deontay Wilder's perception and his team's perception of Anthony Joshua has now changed. And now they're, you know, probably more confident about beating him. They would have to be more confident about beating him, you know. However, this is one thing I will say, and I've said this before. If Anthony Joshua beats Andy Ruiz in the rematch, I strongly suspect that the days of Eddie Hearn matching Anthony Joshua with Al Haymon fighters are probably going to be over, at least for now. Because, of course, Anthony Joshua beat Charles Martin, an Al Haymon fighter. Anthony Joshua beat Dominic Breazeale, an Al Haymon fighter. Anthony Joshua voluntarily decided to fight Andy Ruiz, who's a newly signed Al Haymon fighter. So AJ had no issues taking on Al Haymon guys over the years. And obviously AJ made Deontay Wilder several offers. So that's another Al Haymon fighter that AJ tried to fight. But after getting wiped out by Andy Ruiz the first time, if AJ manages to regain those belts, I strongly suspect that AJ and Hearn are going to be moving a lot more carefully. They're not going to be so quick to fight Al Haymon fighters because of the fact that this is not just a battle in the ring, a battle to find out who the best fighter is. It's a battle in terms of business and business empires. It's a battle of DAZN versus Fox and Showtime. It's a battle of Eddie Hearn versus Al Haymon and, you know, whoever else is out there. So, yeah, we have to bear that in mind. And it's kind of bad for boxing, really, you know, if the situation I describe actually happens. Because previously, Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn were very gung-ho. They just wanted to fight everybody. They were willing to fight anyone out there, from Tyson Fury to Wilder. They were very gung-ho about the situation. But after the Ruiz loss, I think they're going to be way more careful about what they're doing. And yeah, I think that's probably bad for boxing fans, to be honest. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.